Hey, it's time for your healthy dose of vitamin D grant, an encouragement and empowering message for you today so that you can have peace, confidence, and live your best life. I'm so happy to get to share this with you today, but I do want to kind of start things off before I get into the super empowerment stuff by just addressing something that I think a lot of us really struggle with on a pretty consistent basis. And if this is you, then I've got something that will actually help you. I'm curious if you have struggled with something that I wrestled with for a very, very long time, and that is feelings of inadequacy, self-worth issues, and feeling like you're not good enough. Is this prevailing thought in your mind, whether it's conscious or subconscious, that you're not good enough, that people don't want you, that people don't want what you have to offer, that they're not going to take you seriously, that you're unworthy? If those are things that you've struggled with, or things that continue to pop up in your brain when you think about maybe trying to talk to somebody, or a relationship that you have, or a relationship that you want, or an opportunity that you want to have, I've got some encouragement and some empowerment for you. But first, let me tell you how I know what this feels like, because I think that sort of ability to connect our stories together helps us to be able to understand how similar a lot of the things that we go through are, because we spend so much time feeling all this stuff inside and suffering alone and suffering in silence when it doesn't have to be that way. If we spent more time recognizing that we all have very similar stories and we all are sometimes fighting very similar battles, we can join forces together and be united in a front of love and in a united front of compassion, in a united front of understanding, and in giving that kind of empowerment and encouragement to other people. Chances are you probably know somebody. If you're not struggling with this yourself, you know somebody that is. And if that's the case, my encouragement to you is to be a regular dose of vitamin empowerment. Let's just call it that. Maybe you come up with your own name for it, but your own dose of love that will help them see the worth that they have, see the value that they have, know that they are worthy. And if I'm speaking to you directly as somebody that is struggling with this, I totally understand where you're coming from. Let me tell you a little story about my childhood. When I was about 12 years old, I was riding my bike outside one day, and I was having a good time, wearing my neon pink Ocean Pacific t-shirt, and just having a good time, not a care in the world. And I could hear this car coming up from behind me, and the car was actually a truck, and I looked over and I saw that in the back of the truck was this pretty girl. And so I pedaled faster, like every little kid does when a car is about to pass. I pedaled faster to try to keep up. And I was pedaling faster to keep up, and sure enough, as this car went by, I was like, man, that girl is really pretty. I wonder if she'll notice me. And she did notice me. And she said something to me that stuck with me for another 2.5 decades. She said, "You are the ugliest kid I have ever seen." Now, in my 12-year-old little mind, that was devastating. And I can imagine now that even if that had happened, 4 or 5 years ago, seeing somebody beautiful that I thought was, really attractive, say something to me in my fragile nature of wanting validation and not believing in myself, believing that somebody else had to tell me what I was worth, to get the antithesis of that, to get somebody telling me what I wasn't worth, would only confirm all these self-doubting, negative personal beliefs I had about myself. And sure enough, that's what happened. What I heard this woman say, this girl, 15, 16-year-old girl, say is, "You are unworthy of me." And because of that, I believed that I was unworthy of just about everybody. Whether that was a romantic relationship, or that was a friend, or that was an opportunity to do business, or that was an opportunity to grow myself, I didn't feel like I was worthy of anybody. And that's what happens to us when we don't choose to fight for ourselves. So you'll see me say a lot of times, you are worth fighting for, because you are worth fighting for. But until you make that decision, until you believe that you are worth fighting for, you'll live with that perpetual feeling and desire to need the validation of other people in order for you to feel good about yourself. And it's a terrible place to be. It's the root of insecurity. When you don't believe in yourself and you don't love yourself, that is the root of insecurity. When you need somebody else to tell you that you're beautiful, you need somebody else to tell you that you're worthy, you need somebody else to tell you that you're cool, you need somebody else to tell you that you're good enough. When you do things so that you can get the recognition and the acceptance of other people. And maybe you are aware that you're doing this stuff so that other people will like you, but deep down inside, it is this feeling that you are not worthy enough unless somebody else makes you worthy. And that leads to this perpetual cycle of dysfunction. And sometimes it can lead to a perpetual cycle of really unhealthy behaviors, or really unhealthy relationships, or really unhealthy patterns that just keep you from having the life that you really want, a life of confidence, a life of happiness, a life of peace. And if that's your story, I totally understand where you're coming from, because again, I lived that story for a very long time. And what it took for me to change was for me to choose myself and choose to love myself in the same ways that I was loving other people. I was telling other people that I loved them. I was telling other people that I believed in them. I was telling other people that they were awesome because I believed that to be true. And yes, there was a part of me that wanted them to reciprocate that back, and when it didn't happen, I felt devastated and I felt loss. But to be able to approach somebody from the place of, I love you and I see your value and I see your awesomeness and I see your excellence and I love how awesome you are, and to come from a place where that's already inside of me and I don't need anybody to give that back to me. That's a different place to be. That's a different way to live. That is the empowerment that I want to pass on and communicate to you today, because that is really what leads to a happy, transformed, awesome, best life. And I've been through some personal hell to get me to this place, and I hope that you don't have to go through that same kind of personal hell. And I hope that you're not in that same kind of place. But if you are, or if you have been in that place, I have some tools and I have some insight that I'd love to share with you. I can't do that in a video here, there's just not enough time, but I'd love to have a conversation with you and learn more about your story and give you the compassionate ear of listening without judgment, without assumptions, and without criticism. I am a big-hearted person, and I do love people, and I do love you, and I'd love the opportunity to sit down and hear your story and give you what I can to help you come out on the other side of your situation with the confidence and the strength and the belief and the knowledge that you really are worth fighting for, because you are. But you have to believe that. And if you need help with that, I'm here for you. I'd love to put some vitamin D grant into your life and into your day. So send me a comment or shoot me a message and we'll have a conversation about it. That's the empowerment I have for you. But if you get anything out of this, tell yourself this: I am worth fighting for, because you are worth fighting for. And I hope you will choose you today. Now, I know there's people that need to hear this message, so I ask you to share this on your profile. Share this with your people. Share this with your friends so that they will know that not only are there ways for them to come out on the other side of self-worth issues on top and to gain confidence that they want, but also that suffering in silence and suffering alone is not the way that it has to be. Don't let your personal fear and worry and doubt cloud your ability to connect with others who are going through or have been through similar things. I'm here for you. I'd love to help you, and I look forward to talking with you. Thanks.